Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our YouTube channel once again. And it is my hope and prayer that this video is actually going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I am fine. Kisumu is also fantastic. And maybe you could also let me know where you are watching the video from. The county or the country in case you are out of the republic. Ladies and gentlemen, High Court today ripped apart William Ruto's unlawful appointment of 50 Chief Administrative Secretaries. And I'm asking myself two simple questions. And maybe you could also help me getting answer to them. The first question I'm asking myself, whether it was William Ruto's strategy to appoint these 50 Chief Administrative Secretaries, knowing so well that they were going to go nowhere. And that was part of his strategy to deal with the politics at that particular moment. And the second question I'm asking myself is whether the ruling is actually a blow to William Samoei Arap Ruto. And if it's a blow to William Ruto, what next for William Samoei Arap Ruto? And just like I keep on saying on this platform, in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. Everything in politics is normally well planned, well scripted, and executed to achieve a specific political objective. Nothing in politics just happens for the sake of it. William Ruto had a clear objective on why he appointed the 50 Chief Administrative Secretaries. But what next after the High Court ruling, whether he engineered it or not? For me, I have three things in my mind. The first thing, which I think might be what could have happened, is that William Ruto actually played the politicians in Kenya Kwanza. He played real politics with them. I'm saying this because let us just be real. Number one, let us look at the numbers of the Chief Administrative Secretaries which he appointed. William Ruto appointed 50 Chief Administrative Secretaries in number. The truth of the matter is that when he requested the Public Service Commission, he only requested for 23. And that's why in their ruling, the judges are saying that the additional 27 did not really go through public participation. So why do you think William Ruto would go for 50 instead of 23? While he knew by the time he was going for 50, even the 23 Kenyans were not comfortable with. So which begs the question, was he playing these politicians? Let us look at number two, the choices he made. And let's just be honest a bit. And I really need your help here. Do you think Millicent Omanga was the right choice for the Chief Administrative Secretary in the Ministry of Interior? That you have Omanga working with Professor Kithure Kindiki. Does it make sense? Do you want to convince me that William Ruto did not have any other alternative? For me, Omanga would have served better in the entertainment or sports. So for me, I think William Ruto was just playing these people based on the choices he made. I also believe, number three, that William Ruto was actually under a lot of pressure from some of these politicians. And he knew that these appointments were going nowhere. So he ended up appointing 50 of them. Let me just give you an example. If you go to Rarieda constituency, there is a cabinet secretary for ICT, Eliud Owalo. Then the same Rarieda constituency, William Ruto appointed Nicholas Gumbo. Why do you think he was doing that? William Ruto just wanted to relieve himself of the pressure. So that right now he can go back and tell those Chief Administrative Secretaries he appointed that for me, I tried. The courts have made their ruling. And what I'm suspecting is going to do is that they are going to appeal. And I've listened to their lawyer, they are going to appeal. And probably at the High Court or at the Supreme Court, they'll be able to be told, okay, the 23 can be fine. So who will he appoint? So for me, on that alone, he was under pressure and he has not dealt with it. And also, if you look at it critically, I also tend to think number 4, William Ruto just wanted to tame some of these politicians. By the time William Ruto was making these appointments, the truth of the matter is that Raila Odinga had started rebellion. He had started moving around the country, consultative meetings. So William Ruto wanted a way of having these politicians, all of them rounded up, and he appointed them to tame them so that they don't move from UDA to join Raila Odinga. For example, there was a high chance that if William Ruto had not appointed Owota, had not appointed Kidero, had not appointed Gumbo, there's a chance that they were either going to join Azimio, or if not, they were not going to play any politics. Just take background and wait for politics to take shape. But he appointed them, which means they were tamed. And before that appointment, they were told, we are going to appoint you. So these guys moved around. In Nyanza, they started putting on the yellow shirts. You saw them opening wood offices here. Another one somewhere, if you go to Kiboswa there, at the border there, there's another UD office. They would put on those yellow shirts and koffias. They would do a bit of recruitment here and there. They were tamed. Not only in Nyanza, but they were able to tame those who started showing signs of joining them from across the country. People like Isaac Mwaura, you know, they expected to be appointed ministers, not. They were appointed to be nominated, not. So William Ruto was able to tame them. So right now, after that, William Ruto can now decide, okay, let us focus on the 23. Let us go to Supreme Court, to High Court, to the Court of Appeal, raise the issue of 23. Because the ruling, I'm not sure what the ruling is, so you can also tell me. In my understanding, the courts have ruled that the 50 CAS are actually unconstitutional. But the court also made a ruling that the 27 specifically did not go through public participation. So I don't know whether William Ruto can go ahead and appoint the 23. I'm not so sure. But my understanding is that the entire CAS is unconstitutional based on the ruling of the 2 judges, and one is the one who agreed that the 23 actually followed the right procedure. So if you ask me, William Ruto actually played these politicians, and that's my first interpretation. I'm talking this way because William Ruto knew that for him, he needed to have public participation, which he didn't go through. When this matter was taken it was supposed to go to the Senate, to Parliament for vetting. What do you think Wetangula did? Simple. Wetangula returned the list back to Ruto because he knew they were unconstitutional. Or if not, it was part of their schemes. So for me, that's the first thing. Number 2, I'm also thinking that probably there's a fallout between the court or the judiciary and William Samoei Arap Ruto. When William Ruto took over after the Supreme Court, the hot air, wild goose chase, all those ruling at the Supreme Court, William Ruto became a friend of the court. He would attend judiciary events. William Ruto would speak well of the judiciary. But of late, I started seeing some trend. And probably there's a fallout between the judiciary and William Ruto's government. And the judiciary is now sending a message to him. For example, just the other day, I heard with my own ears the Supreme Court Chief Justice herself complaining that judges have gone for 6 months without their allowances. Why do you think she would complain when she used to support these guys? Why do you think she would complain? There's a fallout. And maybe because of this fallout, that's why this ruling went the way it is. And therefore, maybe we are saying it's not that he played these politicians. Number 3, which I don't really think, is that the judiciary is actually trying to clean their image after a series of mistakes. So they want to try to be independent by making the right ruling. The fact that Uhuru Kenyatta appointed Chief Administrative Secretary does not justify the fact that they are unconstitutional. And if you listened to the ruling, they actually made reference to the 2018 appointments, that they were unconstitutional at that time. So for me, those are the three things which comes to my mind. But what about other issues? Before we get into all those, please, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, take a second or two. Click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. And you know, if you love this particular video up to this point, please, you know how you can send me coffee on the numbers which I normally give you guys. You can also see the number in the down there. Ladies and gentlemen, the other issue is what next after this ruling? Is William Ruto going to appeal? Already, the lawyer has suggested that they want to appeal and they want to raise the issue of public participation. And the question is public participation really public participation in this republic called Kenya? Because just the other day you saw on the finance bill, when public participation was allegedly took place, what Kenyans said and how they went ahead and still pushed on with the bill. So let us wait and see. But the question is he going to make fresh appointments? Because assuming, based on my layman understanding, that out of the 50, how many? There were 50. Okay, let's just calculate. Let's assume out of the 50, then it's going to remove the 27, then it's going to have 23. Then out of these 23, is he going to appoint new 23 CAS and then subject them to public participation? And who are they going to be? Or is this issue of CAS, that's the end of it? Or is William Ruto going to try to come up with something which is now not Chief Administrative Secretary? Maybe through Public Service Commission, he will appoint some director, foreign affairs director, but working with the minister. I don't know. Number two, you know, William Ruto is not a stupid politician. He's a smart one. Could this be his strategy to capture judiciary? Because I always advise Kenyans that when you're dealing with William Ruto, you don't sleep with all eyes closed. You ensure that when this one is closed, this one is open. That's how you can succeed with Ruto. Is it part of his strategy to capture judiciary? What I mean by this is that these kind of rulings will make Kenyans believe in the judiciary. I've already seen Raila Odinga praising judiciary for this ruling, which in my view is very bad. Then once you believe this ruling, then they go to the Court of Appeal, makes a different ruling. You already believe on them. Or he will just let this go. Tomorrow he will announce that for me, the courts have ruled, and as a law-abiding citizen, that's the end. We move on. Then you see there's that ruling of the finance bill, which I think is going to come up. Because already there was that order which Omtata was given, but now the main ruling is coming up. Then in that finance bill, because that's the main thing he's interested in, the same court, High Court, will make a ruling in his favor. And therefore he will expect you to believe it. So he wants to create a situation where a few rulings, a few cases goes according to Kenya's way, and then Kenyans will believe him. Then later on, poop, bombshell. Lastly, and I'm convinced about it, that William Ruto is actually fixing his partners in Kenya Kwanza with this appointment. You see, we had 50 Chief Administrative Secretaries. Some of these people were seconded to him by Gachagua, some by Mudavadi, some by Weta. But deep down, he knew he really doesn't need these people. He believes so. Because if you look at the way William Ruto made appointments, the permanent secretaries and cabinet, the permanent secretaries and cabinet secretaries, if you follow the way William Ruto made those appointments, he already achieved whatever he wanted. He ensured that any critical ministry which is not under the grip of a Kalenjin, the permanent secretary is a Kalenjin. So that a minister cannot make any move without a Kalenjin. And that's why people like Alice Wahome are finding it difficult to work. So you can't tell me that with that arrangement, William Ruto was going to bring someone somewhere here. Take, for example, the Ministry for Interior, where Kindiki is the boss. You look at it, who has the powers there? Is it Raymond Omolo? Is it Bitok? Raymond Omolo is not. It's Bitok. You go to all these other critical, even Ministry of Finance. There's a day I was reading somewhere that the PS disagreed with the CS because he had signed certain documents without involving the CS. So I don't think, in my view, Ruto was keen on this CAS, but he wanted to use them to fix his allies. And during this time, William Ruto has already filled the available positions which some of these guys would have been made to. You know, minister, MD here, chair of a board here. Yes, already. Some of these guys would have easily been absorbed. And now, most of them can now not pull out. They're already in a fix. I don't know what you think. That's my take. It's Lee Makwiny. If you love the video, please share it. If you love the video, please subscribe. And of course, if you love the video, drop something on my number, which is 0712 741323. Omondi Kogalo. Bye-bye.